followed with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Would you stand as able and join me tonight in our invocation? Let us pray. Dear Lord, Father of us all, we come to you this evening to ask your guidance as the City Council of Sedalia meets to hear about, question, discuss, and make decisions for the betterment of our city. We are grateful for the service of these people, their dedication to the community. And tonight we honor two who work for this city. And I look at this and I think, wow, 40 years. Sherry Fredrickson, 40 years with the Sanitation Department administrative assistant. And David Pearl, utility operator, 5 years. And they received their service awards this evening. We're so grateful for them. We ask your protection for all of our first responders who work 24/7 to serve and protect us, often at their own peril. We celebrate the 250th anniversary, the birthday of this great democratic republic. So let us remember those whose lives were lost, sacrificed in making this country what it is today. Many thousands have fought and died to create and protect it. And please bless and protect all of our military and civilians serving this great country today, here, throughout the world, and bring them home safely. And now as we leave this evening, please protect us and our loved ones. Keep us from harm until we meet again. And this is prayed in the name of our risen Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Myers, will you do the roll call, please?
Sure. Robinson.
Yes.
Ames.
Here.
Scribner.
Here.
Bogus.
Here.
Covington.
Here.
Cross.
Here.
Radford. Here. Franklin.
Here.
All present.
Next on the agenda, service awards. We'll invite the department heads to say a few words for their employees. Starting with sanitation.
Did Sherry make it tonight? No, she did not. Did Mr. Pearl make it tonight? No.
We will strike that from this agenda. The retirement ceremony or awards, we'll strike that as well. We're going to table that for the next meeting. So next on the agenda, special awards. We invite up Brittany Wilbanks, our industrial pretreatment coordinator, to say a few words on this award.
Good evening. For you that don't know me, my name is Brittany. I've been the pretreatment coordinator for the last 3 years. Sedalia's pretreatment program implements regulations designed to protect the city's collection system, wastewater treatment plant, employees, and citizens. This program requires industries with wastewater discharges that have the potential to impact these systems to comply with the conditions of an industrial user permit. Permitted users are responsible for monitoring pollutants, routine sampling, submitting quarterly reports, properly operating and maintaining pretreatment equipment, and working collaboratively with the city to achieve the shared goal. Tonight, I would like to recognize 3 industries that have demonstrated exceptional commitment to compliance and safeguarding the city facilities, public health, and the environment. These industries are Nucor Steel, Stanley Black & Decker, and Maxion Wheels. Each of these facilities was nominated for and received a gold award at the Missouri Water Environment Association Conference in March. To earn this distinction, industries must achieve 100% compliance with pollutant limitations, reporting requirements, and other permit conditions established by the city. Accepting the award for Stanley Black & Decker this evening is their wastewater technician, Robert Smith. This is the second consecutive year Stanley Black & Decker has received this award. They continue to maintain compliance, take care of their pretreatment equipment, and practice environmental stewardship, all while manufacturing some pretty shiny toolboxes. Accepting the award for new core steel this evening are Ryan I. and Anthony Harris. This is second year Nucor has also received this award. Nucor has always gone above and beyond to maintain compliance, and they've maintained transparency through and through. So they make a great rebar product with a pretty impressive process behind it. So accepting the award for Maxion Wheels this evening is Maxion Plant Manager Camila Diaz. Bruce Salzgaber and Shane Bachler, both wastewater technicians at Maxion, run their pre-treatment process like a well-oiled machine. You can tell they care about their role at Maxion, producing a variety of wheels for the world. I always tell people who ask what I do as a pre-treatment coordinator that I monitor industries for environmental compliance, but I also get to live a real live episode of Modern Marvels with all the processes behind the industries. Sedalia is an industrial town that we should all be proud to know that a large variety of products used worldwide are made here at Industries in Sedalia. On behalf of the city, I would like to sincerely thank these industries for their continued dedication to compliance, their efforts, hard work, and commitment to protecting the environment, city facilities, and the citizens of Sedalia are greatly appreciated.
Next is the approval of previous session minutes. These are the council meetings minutes for April 20th, 2026. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any opposed, or, sorry about that. So, motion passes to accept the minutes. I have a motion and a second. And any discussion on the council regarding the minutes? Haven't heard none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We have a special report, or a special board, commission, and committee. We will now move to old business. The only item on old business is the mayor's veto of ordinance number 12439. The ordinance was passed by the city council on April 20th, 2026. I have objected to passing the ordinance. The council has received notification of my objection. I will read those objections now. Ordinance 1243977-270. I would like to veto this ordinance for a number of reasons. It would cost an additional $2 per ton. We would use 300 gallons per week, the department that is currently underperforming. It would cost an additional $62,000 per year just in fuel alone. The tires could cost anywhere from $375 up to $500 before taxes, about $2,250 per truck on the low end, on the high end, $3,000 on a 60,000 mile tire tread. That's 30 miles one way on a 60,000 mile tread at a cost of $3,000 per truck. If the driver starts his day with a load, he's losing 1 hour and 15 minutes start time when that landfill closed at 4. The miles that we put on the truck carrying additional 4 tons of trash per trip has to be hard on those trucks. We are currently down a truck and looking towards renting for the unforeseeable future. That's additional expenses for a department that's underperforming. There's talks of expansion possibly currently on our current landfill, and I got confirmation from our county commissioners that 14 acres have been approved. On top of that, that facility produces enough natural gases to fuel 10,000 houses per year at its current stature. To addition to that, we will be changing tires at least 3 times a year. That's an additional $36,000 in tire expenses on those trucks to add to the $62,000. The drivers will be required to take a MoDOT physical because their immunity for driving in town, it doesn't pertain to that. Once we break city limits, those guys are going to have to take DOT physicals. The bad thing about a DOT physical, if those guys fail at any cost, they don't lose their license, but they're not able to drive until they're able to pass that physical. So now we're possibly down a driver because of health issues. It's just the reality of that as well. So those physicals cost $200 per driver, and they got to maintain it every 2 years. That's a cost of $98,800 per year total. And that's what we know so far, not the rental trucks expenses or anything else for a department that underperformed. What we have to also keep in mind, we gave these employees a 1% raise. How's that going to factor into their next year's raise when we're losing almost $100,000 per year? It's just things to consider. I will now call this meeting for on this order. The question before the council is, shall this bill pass? My objections notwithstanding, do I have a motion to pass this bill?
Point of information from our attorney, please, on how to vote on this veto by our mayor, since the majority of us have not had to do such voting on a veto before.
Sure. The question is, shall the bill pass? So if you would like to override the veto, you would vote yes. If you do not want to override the veto, you would say no. And as a reminder, we still need a motion.
So are we open for discussion on this?
Yes.
Okay. My understanding is that from GFL's side, they have not followed the contract the way it was written. We're not paying $31 a ton. We've paid upwards of $50 a ton and more. So that kind of negates the $2 a ton. There was also some other stuff, like they were supposed to repair the road out front. It hasn't been done. We're occurring damages to trucks. And I believe if I could get Justin to speak some more on this.
Well, I can rebut that. I go out there 9 times a day. I work for Ditchfield. They've made significant improvements. He's invested $28,000 in improving the roads. I've seen it. Mr. Covington went out there and talked to him as well. Did you see the conditions? Were you concerned about the conditions?
I wasn't too much concerned about the conditions itself. My concern was more so of the contract. Whereas it state that we're paying $50. You know, so is there a contract that states that?
So there was a contract from 2005
Right.
that we had been under, and there was a escalator built into it for yearly rates. And those yearly rates had been continuing to go up each year based off of that. But in the last few years, they had gone up faster than what the stipulations in the contract allow for. So we had gone up from in the 30s to then the next year into the 40s and into the 50s, which is higher than what the contract allowed for, because it was based on the contract terms. So that is where the discussion has come from about us paying more than what their current contract allowed for. I had spoke with legal about whether we wanted to have a, I guess in a sense, legal get involved in that, or if we would terminate the contract, because there was the ability to do that. And so we gave notice of termination and then went out to bid. So that is the background of what had happened leading up to this.
Right. So my other question also is that, so we actually talked with them. We talked with GFL concerning the price being going up higher each year? Going
Yes.
up each year? Or has it just gone up within the time? What was the time frame that it was going up?
It had gone up each year, but I did not get involved in it until in the last year and a half.
Do you know what their increasing rate was? 30 a ton. What was there? Next, John.
So it would have been in the 3 to 4% range, but one of the biggest things that was happening is that we were not given notice. The contract also requires notice. So the rate was not consistent. We would go to the landfill, we would get a ticket, we would be sent a bill for that ticket, and that rate would fluctuate and increase. So part of the contract would be an official notification of what it was going up and some consistency with it. So that was, it is, I believe it's around $53 a ton, approximately. I don't have the exact amount.
What's Warrensburg's rate?
The contract that we entered, what is the rate on the contract that we entered?
We haven't entered the contract. They quoted us at around $33 a ton. And GFL quoted us at around 31.
Correct.
No, that was through the bidding process.
So as of right now, we're at 50,
We're at about 53.
but they're willing to go to 31 versus the 33 in Warrensburg. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
This is also how the last one started. It started at that 30 and has escalated up to 50, correct?
The contract has been around so long, I don't know what it started at back in those days. I'm sorry. I know that it was probably approximately 3 years ago, we were paying in the upper 30s.
My understanding is we've had 2 employees with workman's comp due to the roads going in there. That's loss of 2 employees being able to work.
Well, I got a rebuttal to that too. We're saying this kind of stuff, but I've worked with the city for 20 years. We would document everything. I want to see the accident reports and saying that they got injured at that facility because they said that their insurance is up to $1 million to cover employees. They would have covered those medical expenses. So why hasn't it been reported and turned into GFL if they got liability for people getting injured on their properties? And where are I want to see the safety report,
Okay,
the full safety report on both employees. So we can turn in that statement to GFL. Oh, no, I'm talking about, we can see the report because there should be documentation that shows that they got injured on that facility, which means we have the argument to turn in that claim to GFL.
If I could suggest, Mayor, you have written your objections in the packet. If we could focus the discussion on those objections, because I don't know that we're prepared to discuss other objections that were not noticed up.
I think we need to table this and go a little bit more in depth on all this information. I'm not ready to vote on this.
This would be the only opportunity for the council to override the veto if you wanted to.
We can always do a new amendment or new ordinance, change it. But there's a lot that has been discussed that I think we need to talk about, whether it's in closed door later. But right now, I'm not ready to vote.
So would it be in line to say yes to override this veto now so that we can later on within the council discuss moving forward, since this ordinance has already been put in place or voted on?
If the ordinance is not if the veto is not overwritten tonight, it would be vetoed. So if you would like to take action on the veto, you would have to take that action now. An ordinance could be repealed at a later date, or a new ordinance could be proposed as well.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let's bring it to order. Do I have a motion and a second? The veto?
There's a whole lot of gaps on this. And so I'm for the veto. So there's just too many unanswered questions at this point. So I get what Miss Councilwoman Bogus is saying, but we need action right now. And I'm saying that right? We need action like today, as of today.
Well, if you would like to take action on the veto, it would need to happen today or else the ordinance would be vetoed.
Gotcha.
Then I would make a motion to override the veto.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just to be clear, the question is shall the bill pass, the mayor's objections notwithstanding? So there would need to be either a motion to pass the bill or that would be the motion.
Okay, I make a motion to pass the bill.
Second.
All in favor?
Roll call.
Yeah, I actually have to do a roll call, Mr. Mayor.
Roll call.
Scribner.
No.
Bogus.
Yes.
Covington.
No.
Cross.
Yes.
Redford.
No.
Franklin.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Ames.
Yes.
You have 5 yes, 3 no.
Motion fails.
Yeah, so the motion failed.
All right. Next on the agenda, our roll call on standing committees. Up first is Finance and Administrative Committee. Chairman Boxes.
Thank you. There's only one item for discussion tonight for consideration, and this will be with Matt Perry, President of the National Sports Services and a member of Diamond Baseball League Management Team, will be present to discuss whether council will be willing to consider amending the current ordinance to allow the sale of alcohol beverages at Liberty Stadium during Diamond League games. Mr. Perry, are you here? Just in case you want to come up, just in case. Mr. Perry is part of the management group that formed the league. The purpose of this discussion is to provide council with information and to gauge interest in a potential ordinance change. Council would need to provide direction to staff if they would like any changes to the existing ordinances to be drafted and brought back for consideration at a future meeting. Would you like to talk on this?
Sure, I'd love to, and thanks for letting me come before you and finally meet you. We're excited having purchased the Bombers, and we've renamed the team the Steamers to really, I guess, extol the virtues of the history of the city with the railroad and trains, and have new branding coming out with that. We're long time, 40 plus years in this minor league baseball business of owning and operating teams all across the U.S. And one thing we try to do is to create the best environment we can for everybody at the ballpark. We try to operate it like a minor league baseball team with promotions and fun, and hopefully put a good product out in the field as well, very competitive. And we formed the Diamond Baseball League with the idea of owning all the teams so we could kind of control all those factors of how we operate the team and how we invest in the team. And that's one of the things when we came here and first saw the community and saw that, there's a lot of progressive things going on here, and then saw the wonderful things you're doing out at the ballpark, and then meeting with Judd Kindle, and we just thought there was a great opportunity to take the foundation that Judd has created and take it to another level. And we're trying to do that through having full-time staff here in the community and focus on the marketing and the sales. But also when we look at the experience that's created at the ballpark, one of the things we wanted to look at and discuss with you is the opportunity to sell alcoholic beverages. Why? Because it's another service element. Not everybody likes to come out and have a beer and a hot dog, but a lot of people do. And so we try to offer that opportunity in a very safe and secure environment with making sure we're properly IDing everybody, maybe even creating a specific area where a beer might be purchased and consumed, but again, having that as part of the overall experience. We realize historically that hasn't been done at the ballpark. So we're asking for consideration of something that's new. And it's alcohol. So we also come to you understanding look, it's not just an easy thing. Like, can we sell merchandise out there? Well, we know it's a nuanced discussion, but that's why we wanted to have this opportunity to A, meet you, and B, answer any questions you might have about our thoughts about being able to offer alcoholic beverages, how we would go about doing it, and hopefully address concerns that you have, questions that you have about being able to do that. So be glad to turn the floor back over to answer those questions you may have about what our thoughts are. Yeah, sure.
The word alcohol, that covers a lot of booze. Would that be mixed drinks, wine, beer, or what?
Well, our intention would be probably just beer and,
It doesn't say that, though. It says alcohol.
well, that's because when you apply for a license, you ask for the type of license you get, and it's an alcoholic beverage license. So our intention would be that it'd probably be beer and wine. Wine probably being prepackaged wine that is stored in individual service. And again, when you look at the products that are being offered, they've really changed a lot over the years in terms of being able to appeal to different demographics. So that's kind of what I'm envisioning versus liquor. We really don't have an intention to sell hard liquor, if you will, even though we may apply for a license that may grant that. That's not our intention.
I'm just wondering too, would they really be checking IDs, and would there be a policeman on board to watch?
Absolutely, because again, we've served alcohol, and I'd say alcohol meaning it may just be beer, at every team we've ever operated, but we're the ones that get punished most if we do something wrong in public opinion. If we're not properly IDing people, if we're serving someone that shouldn't be served, if we're promoting alcoholic sales as one of our lead things that what we're about, we're the ones that end up getting punished, because it's important for us that in the public we're viewed as being an asset for the community. And we hope that when people think of the team, the first thing they think of, oh, it's great that they're here. And the things they're doing in the school systems and with youth and with fundraisers and all those things that we want to do and have be a instrumental part of what we're about. And if we're out there not taking care of the public, I mean, it goes to even serving a hot dog cold. I mean, all those things come into play as what is the perception in the community and how we're viewed. So one thing we typically do is we ID people when they first come in, and you have to get a wristband. And there's a process you go through, and we don't serve anyone that doesn't have a wristband. And that's like the first station you go to. If you want to have a beer, that's where you start. And we'll have security at every ballpark.
I just don't like to see alcohol served in a park. That's what I'm against.
I understand that sense and that feeling. I'm not naive to it. For us, as we look at the markets we're in, and we want to, one of the differences too is we're going at this. It is a business. And we want it to be a profitable business to where we can keep investing in it and growing it. One way we do that is to, offer the full plethora of opportunity for all the demographics, knowing that these people will take advantage, these people don't care to, and that's okay. But we'd like to have something for everyone. But we've got to do it responsibly.
Yeah, would you have a rule like you can't go outside door? Like,
Absolutely.
okay, yeah.
You can't-
It's just inside the baseball park.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how are you going to stop them?
From taking it out,
Mhm.
people at the gate, people checking.
Okay. I have a big concern about it because right now we have signage in every one of our parks that says no alcohol, no smoking. I understand that some folks like to drink beer while they're watching ball game. But then I have to take into consideration the youth that are going to be around that as well. Even though they're not going to be drinking the alcohol, they're being exposed to it. You're teaching them, okay, it's okay to be out here in the park, drink beer and watch a baseball game. I'm not really into that, or I really don't approve of that. I think what you're doing as far as the ball games itself is great, but I don't think that we need to be introducing alcohol in our parks. And it will go from park to park because the first thing you're going to hear is, you let Liberty Park do it, why can't Centennial Park do it? Why can't Hubbard Park do it? Why can't? And then now we've got to try to justify all of that.
Well, I appreciate that. The difference here is, we're a tenant in your ballpark. And you may not have similar tenants in other ballparks or other parks, and I get that. And
Yeah, that's true, but you do have in Hubbard Park and in Centennial Park, I know for a fact that you have ball games there. So you do have those activities there in those other parks. And again, we would have to answer that question to why you're letting them do it, but we can't do it.
yeah, you may have to, yeah.
Thanks.
Mr.
And
Mayor?
it's just during the, sorry.
Yes. Could we get input maybe from the Parks Department? Amy, would you like to comment on this or?
Absolutely.
Real quick, it's just during Sedalia Steamers games, right? It's just during the Steamers games.
Yeah, we should cut off sales.
Yeah.
Yes, so, Steamers is looking for just doing it at the stadium, Liberty Stadium during their games, not at any other time. We have had 2 other occasions that we've done this in the park. At a bark in the park with the Lions Club, they did that. We had 2 cops on staff, no problems at all, great attendance. So it has been voted on. Every time it came to park board, it was supported. It doesn't, but then there was times it came to park board or city council, it was supported, and then the next year it was voted against. So when he asked, what our recommendation is or what our thoughts were, we said, come to city council, speak with them and see if you can get their support and then bring it back to us. But listening to their plan, they have a very good plan in place to try to keep it safe, where it's not a drunk fest. It's a few drinks, enjoying a ball game. Kind of what they were talking about, no difference than going to a local restaurant and someone eating and someone next to you ordering a drink. They've talked about the security and everything like that. So as the director, not speaking for Park Board, but as the director, I feel like they've done everything that they can and are willing to make it safe and a good way to continue to grow their Steamers program. Any other questions for me?
Would the alcohol be stored there at the park?
That would be something for the Steamers. They have the full concession stand that they're completely in charge of. We do have, that is one park system now that we put in over $2.6 million invested in that facility. We do have the security and the cameras and not an issue for that. But again, that would be their responsibility. Any other questions for me? I know if Steamers has any questions, you can ask him as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is the alcohol going to be stored between games at that stadium?
That's typically what we do. We put it under lock and key.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I don't have.
Do we need a vote on this?
This is just up for discussion right now. If we could get an indication of whether you'd like for us to take it through park board and then come back to you for final approval, if you would like us to.
Can we add it to closed door?
You could ask legal questions about it in closed door.
That's what I'm implying. So, okay.
Thank you. I
right.
release.
Answered everyone's questions? Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
That ends the finance and administration.
Okay. All right. Are there any final comments for the council on that matter? If not, we'll move on to Public Works Committee. Chairwoman Franklin, the floor is yours.
There are 6 items for consideration through Public Works Committee. First one, Brittany Wilbanks, the city pretreatment coordinator, will present to council using attached handout as a guide to explain city's industrial pretreatment program, IPP, including its purpose, regulatory requirements, and operational responsibilities. The IPP is a federally and state required program designed to protect the city's wastewater treatment from harmful industrial discharges and ensure compliance with EPA, Missouri Department of Natural Resource Standards. You guys are gonna be sick of me by the end of the night. So like I said, I'm gonna give you an overview of just the pretreatment updates that we have proposed. Never use one of these. So a pretreatment program exists to protect the city's collection system, wastewater treatment plant, public safety, and the environment from pollutants that can be introduced by commercial and industrial dischargers. So I like to refer to it as a safety shield to protect our city infrastructure. Uh-oh. Okay, it's missing lines. I don't know what happened. But this slide was just going to show how the breakdown of how like a collection system and a wastewater treatment work. You know, the town is made up of residential homes, restaurants, car washes, and industries. The wastewater leaving a residential home is also known as domestic waste, which is normally 99.9% water. Waste leaving a restaurant can contain pollutants like fats, oils, and grease. And then on top of these, you have industrial users, which makes things harder at the wastewater treatment plant. Industries all complete various processes such as metal finishing, copper forming. The wastewater leaving these industries can possibly contain high levels of metals, chemicals, acids, or potentially hazardous waste if not pre-treated prior to reaching the city. The pre-treatment program is what keeps those harmful things from reaching the wastewater treatment plant by requiring industries to pre-treat their waste prior to sending it to the city. Wastewater treatment plants aren't designed to treat things such as metals. If an industry sent an untreated waste stream, those metals have the potential to either kill the wastewater plant or pass all the way through the plant and go out the effluent into the local creek. So definitely something to think about for our environment. And feel free to stop me if you have questions. So. The industrial pretreatment program is required by the EPA and Missouri DNR for any publicly owned treatment works that is designed to treat more than 5 million gallons per day or has a large industrial presence. Sedalia has 3 wastewater treatment facilities. Together, they're designed to treat a little over 8 million gallons a day. We also have a large industrial footprint with 9 permitted industries. Our program was developed and implemented in 1985. Okay, so this slide just kind of gives you an overview on how the regulations work. EPA obviously has the federal regulations. They also oversee Missouri DNR. Missouri DNR issues individual wastewater treatment plant permits to all 3 of our permits in the town, or facilities in town. As a requirement of that, the pretreatment program requirements can be found in that permit. And then underneath that, the city obviously has local regulations. That's what we use our sewer use ordinance fee, or sewer use ordinance. And then our enforcement response plan. So, I mean, at the end of the day, EPA could come in and they're in charge of all of it, but that's just kind of how it breaks down. Okay, so a pre-treatment program requires the city to identify and regulate industrial users, develop and enforce local limits, prevent harm to our wastewater treatment plants,
issue permits and administration, inspect, monitor, and sample, review reports, and then submit an annual report every year to Missouri DNR on just industry compliance, any issues we might have had at the wastewater treatment plant, any upsets we might have had because of the industry, that kind of thing. So last April, we were actually inspected by the EPA. As a result of that inspection, there were some areas that are components that need to be improved on so we can continue to meet compliance. And that's kind of what has triggered all of this. These areas include the sewer use ordinance, industrial user fees, local limits, and in the enforcement response plan. Man, all my stuff is missing. I don't. Okay. So the updates to the sewer use ordinance are adding additional control mechanisms for the city to regulate industrial users other than just industrial user permit. It changes how limits for the industry's permits are issued. Our previous permits were in pounds per day, which made it a lot of fun trying to calculate whether they exceeded the limit or didn't exceed the limit. So the new permits were issued in concentration, so it's milligrams per liter. So it makes things a lot easier on me. The sewer use ordinance and the enforcement response plan, they now align each other. And then authorizes cost recovery to help maintain the program implementation. And then the city ordinance will now model the EPA's pretreatment ordinance. Okay, so why update? This allows the city to recover costs associated with treating the wastewater that's beyond normal domestic strength, which places the financial responsibility on the industries and not the residents in our town. It also places the actual cost to pre-treat that water on the industries instead of, it getting discharged to the city and then we're paying the cost to have that treated. So, and it's also going to protect the major upgrades that are getting ready to happen at the central and north wastewater treatment plant. And then it allows the city to meet compliance with the state and federal regulations, correcting the components that needed improved. Okay, so who will this affect? It'll affect the significant industrial users. Like I said, Sedalia is, has a heavy industry footprint. However, they have to meet a certain criteria to be a significant industrial user. So we currently have 9 significant industrial users. To be classified as that, they have to be a categorical user, which means they have a federal process such as metal finishing, copper forming, iron, steel manufacturing. There's a whole list. They produce over 25,000 gallons of processed water a day, meaning water that actually touches their product through the process. They contribute more than 5% of hydraulic or organic loading, or they also have the potential to cause harm to the wastewater treatment plant. Okay, so these are 9 significant industrial users that we have here in town. GFL obviously discharges leachate. Maxion Wheels is a metal finisher. MPW, they treat industrial water. Pro Energy is a metal finisher. Sierra Bullets and Starline Brass, they actually share a permit. Their treatment processes, or I guess Starline discharges to Sierra and they treat the waste for them. So Nucor Steel, iron manufacturer, steel manufacturer. Stanley Black & Decker is a metal finisher, and St. Joe, they take recycled plastic and shred it and then make another product out of that. So. Okay, so the new user fees, permit application fee. So this would only apply every 5 years. The industry permits are 5 years long. So unless there was a new industry to come into town, then that would come into play. Let's see. The annual base fee for inspecting and sampling and reporting software. This past year, we started using Drop software, which the industries are able to go in and put their data in every day or every month, however they want to do it. Before they would submit a hard copy report that would come to me. I'd have to type in all those numbers. So I'm very thankful for the Drop program. Permit modifications, enforcement fees, cost recovery if an industry was to cause a major upset at a wastewater treatment plant. And then if they do send high strength waste, there's an extra fee on top of the normal fee for that. And then also hauled waste, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Okay, so for example, every year, EPA, Missouri DNR requires the city to sample at all of our permitted industries. So that averages anywhere between, I don't, $800 to $1,500, depending on that user's permit. So looking at that number, it's about $12,000 a year minimum for us, the city, to pay for the testing of the industrial users discharge. And then sometimes there'll be times we have to sample again because non-compliance issues and that kind of thing. So cost recovery would just put the cost back on the industry and not on the city. I don't know. Okay, so hauled waste is a source of wastewater transported by haulers and introduced to the POTW by method other than pipe from the collection system at a specified location authorized by the city. Our current hauled waste program is losing money. The current rate is, minimal. And then each load on top of that that's brought in, we have to test. So again, the city's out money for that testing. So the new fees will be 12 cents per gallon, $150 minimum per load, and then an additional 6 cents per gallon if it comes back high strength. So if we send the sample off and it comes back and it shows it's got high, I don't know, BOD or TSS, then we can potentially charge an extra 6 cents on top of the 12. So right now the city has one consistent hauler and the potential to have an industrial one, which will be looked at in the next agenda item. So. Okay, so local limits is where it gets technical and confusing. So local limits are site specific to each wastewater treatment plant and puts a limit on the amount of a certain pollutant that can be discharged at that plant. So DNR required the city to complete a local limits evaluation last year. I took samples from industries, wastewater treatment plants, and then the collection system. The city then hired Drop Collaborative to take that data and complete the evaluation and calculate local limits. Our local limits haven't been revised since 2014.
Can we silence that, please?
Like I said, our local limits haven't been revised since 2014. Since then, we've had new industries. There's been changes at our wastewater treatment plants. So obviously some updates are needed. Some of these limits they're more stringent, some are not, but that evaluation obviously showed a reason for that more stringent limit. So in that table, you'll find our new limits for each of the wastewater treatment plants. I will say Southeast, they don't require local limits. We have no industrial users except the hospital that discharge there. So unless something was to drastically change, there's mostly residential homes. So the local limits aren't required. Okay, so how are local limits developed? We start by looking, oh gosh darn. So each wastewater treatment plant has a maximum amount of pollutants it can safely handle each day to still meet permit requirements. So we take that maximum allowable for each plant, and then we minus the domestic waste, coming from residential households. And that gives us the amount of each pollutant that an industry, that all the industries in that in town can split for that wastewater treatment plant. Whoops. Man, my pie's missing too. Okay. In the last permit cycle, the industries were all given the entire pie of each pollutant and not just the slice that they needed. The new permits issued were given to each industry off availability and need. For example, one industry process might be high in copper, so we can allocate them 80%, where another industry has minimal, and so we give them 2%. So by doing it this way, we're able to allocate it as fairly as possible for our industries here in town. Like I said, both Central and North have their own limits. Southeast does not. So for example, if we have 4 industries that discharge to our Central plant, those 4 industries are the only ones that'll split that pie just for Central. So I don't know if that breaks it down. The enforcement response plan is pretty self-explanatory. This is the document that is more or less a roadmap for what happens if an industry is to violate some part of its permit requirements. This also hasn't been updated since 2018, and it didn't really align with our sewer use ordinance, but with these updates, it will, so. This is kind of the timeline. So back in November, the city council approved a resolution endorsing the pretreatment program modifications. November 20th, that was submitted to the state. December 8th, we received, they granted approval of these modifications. March 6th, the program modifications were put out on public notice, the same time as Missouri DNRs. And then during that 30-day comment period, there was no comments, either the state or for the city, so. Okay, I know I threw a lot of information at you, but here are the key takeaways. Components like cost recovery make the industrial pretreatment program strong by placing the financial responsibility on the industry and not on our city residents. This program is essential to protect our city infrastructure, public safety, and environment, and the city is required to update these components to continue to meet compliance. Bottom line, Sedalia is an industrial town providing products that are shipped all over the world. The city and industry stakeholders share a common commitment to protecting city infrastructure, public safety, and the environment. Implementing an updated program makes both parties successful at ensuring compliance with local, state, and federal regulations. You guys have any questions about any of that?
I have one question for you. I got the big drop.
I know, the big 234 pages.
Well, I was looking through it. I'm not even gonna pretend I understand most of this. Is there a significant drop since we've implemented the pre-treatment inside of facilities? Is there any kind of numbers or percentages you have on that up to date?
As far as, as violations from on the city side, is that what you're saying? Or the
Just as far as like the numbers coming in, have they went down?
Yes, so for instance, at North Plant, we always have typical high number in copper. Since our new permits have been issued, that number we're seeing coming in is lower, so, which is good.
What was the sewer change part, like to update the sewer?
It's just the sewer use ordinance, so it's our entire ordinance that just relates to anything sewer related. More or less just like defines what an industrial user is, what they have to do with their permit, what the city can do, if they violate the permit, that kind of thing.
So as we currently stand, Central Plants, from what I understand, from what your explanation is, facilitating most of the industrial.
Right, yeah, right now it's kind of split, but I mean, if they do upgrade Central and remove North Plant, I mean, everything will be going to Central Plant, so eventually.
So what portion of it's, supplying services for industry? Did you say about 60%, 50%, 20%?
I honestly don't know, honestly, I'd have to look at that, I'm not sure. But I can look at that and find out for you.
All right. Well, the reason why I'm saying that, if we phase out North Plant, would we be able to facilitate all the factories diverting to Central?
Yes, yeah, I mean, that was something that was taken into account when they did the local limit study and all that, so.
That's all I have.
Yeah. Anything else? Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, the city staff is requesting council approval of required updates to the industrial pretreatment program, IPP, as mandated by the Missouri Department of Natural Resources, the Environmental Protection Agency. These updates include modifications to the city's legal authority, local pollutant limits, and enforcement response plan to ensure compliance with current regulatory standards. Council previously endorsed these updates by resolution on November 17th, 2025, after which the modifications were submitted to Missouri DNR and formally approved December 8th, 2025. In accordance with state statute, the proposed changes were distributed to affected industrial users and placed in public notice with no comments received during the 30-day comment period. These updates are necessary to address identified program deficiencies and ensure the city maintains compliance with its wastewater permits. Staff recommends approval of this ordinance to formally adopt the updated pretreatment program.
I call for a reading of bills 60-100 through 60-166.
Bill number
Clerk
20,
Meyer?
Bill number 2026-56. An ordinance amending section 60-100 through 60-166 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Sedalia, Missouri related to sewer use regulations.
Second reading.
Second.
Can we restrain until we have the community engagement portion, please? Okay, well, can you hold that question until that portion? Okay, thank you. I have a motion and a second for the reading of bill number 60-100 through 60-166. Is there any council discussion? Haven't heard none. All in favor?
Aye.
The motion is for a second reading.
Oh, for a second reading, but we had a second reading.
This is for the second reading.
We call for the second read.
So we just had second reading, but the motion was to go to second reading. So council, if you would like to have second reading and then move on to actually considering the ordinance, you would vote yes.
Motion for second reading.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the reading of bill number 60-100 through 60-166. Is there any council discussion? Haven't heard none. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes.
Bill number 2026-56. An ordinance amending section 60-100 through 60-166 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Sedalia, Missouri related to sewer use regulations.
Final passage.
I have a motion and a second for final passage. Is there any council discussion? Haven't heard none. Roll call, please.
Scribner,
Yes.
August,
Yes.
Covington,
Yes.
Cross,
Yes.
Redford,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Ames.
Yes.
All in favor.
Bill passes. Oh, sorry.
Next item, the city is requesting industrial user hauled wastewater discharge State Specialty Eggs LLC, MSSE, which operates an egg washing facility outside the city's jurisdiction. MSSE has requested authorization to transport and discharge industrial wastewater to the city's publicly owned treatment works, POTW. Based on data collection, site inspection, and coordination with the company, discharge has been determined to have potential to impact wastewater treatment operations if not properly controlled. The proposed permit establishes strict conditions, including discharge limits, monitoring requirements, and full cost recovery for treatment, sampling, and administrative oversight. The permit also includes defined fees, including per gallon usage rate, minimum load charges, and additional surcharges for high-strength wastewater. Discharge volumes will be limited to a maximum of 30,000 gallons per day and are subject to modification or revocation in event of noncompliance. This represents the first permit of this type issued by the city and provides a structured, enforceable approach to supporting regional economic activity while ensuring protection of the wastewater treatment system, regulatory compliance, and public health.
I call for the reading of bill number 12274. Clerk Myers.
Bill number 2026-57, an ordinance authorizing issuance of an industrial user hauled wastewater discharge permit to Mid-State Specialty Eggs LLC.
Second reading.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for a second reading of bill number 12274. Is there any council discussion?
Where's the location of this? The Mid-State Specialty Eggs. HH Highway? Will this be a temporary? How long is, I'm sorry, how long is the temporary? Do we know?
I do not know when it's supposed to go live.
Just the temporary. Okay, all right.
All in favor? Can I have a final reading of Bill 12274?
Bill number 2026-57, an ordinance authorizing issuance of an industrial user hauled wastewater discharge permit to Midstate Specialty Eggs LLC.
Final passage.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for the second reading of Bill number 12274. Is there any council discussion? Haven't heard none. All those in favor?
Mr.
Any-
Mayor, I think that was a motion
Yeah.
for approval, so we would need a roll call.
Sorry about that. Roll call, please.
Bogus,
Yes.
Covington,
Yes.
Cross,
Yeah.
Bradford,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Ames,
Yes.
Scribner.
Yes.
All in favor?
Next, the Utility Department is requesting approval of an ordinance authorizing the purchase of one Chevrolet Silverado 4500 truck equipped with a service bed and crane from Heavy Equipment LLC in the amount of $108,000. This purchase was planned and included in the approved budget as part of the city's fleet replacement and water pollution control strategic planning effort. The new vehicle will replace an aging 2003 truck that has become increasingly costly to maintain and presents safety concern due to the condition of its crane. In addition to replacing aging equipment, this investment will allow the city to bring pump preventative maintenance services in-house, reducing reliance on outside contractors and addressing approximately $34,850 in annual contracted service costs. The select unit was obtained through a formal bid process and represents the lowest responsive bid, providing a new unused vehicle with full factory warranties within the approved budget. The purchase supports reliable operations, improves safety, and aligns with long-term cost efficiency goals. Staff recommend approval of the ordinance.
Well, I have a motion. Do I have a motion and a second? Or can I get a call for the reading?
Bill number 2026-58, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of a vehicle for the Utilities Department.
Second.
I have a second and a motion for the final passage. All in favor? Any opposed?
Bill number 2026-58, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of a vehicle for the Utilities Department.
Final passage.
Second.
Can I get a roll call?
Covington,
Yes.
Cross,
Yes.
Redford,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Ames,
Yes.
Scribner,
Yes.
Bogus.
Yes.
All in favor?
Next, the Utility Department is requesting authorization to apply for Department of Health and Senior Services Office of Dental Health grant to fund a replacement of the water plant fluoridation system. The current system is aging, showing signs of corrosion, and requires a manual process for handling hydrofluorosilicic acid that presents operational and safety concerns. If awarded, the grant would reimburse approximately $16,634 to fully replace the system with modern equipment, including improved containment, automated process, and enhanced safety features for operators. The updated system would also provide more accurate chemical measurement for delivery. Approval of this item allows staff to submit a grant application. Any future acceptance of funds or project implementation would be brought back to council as required. Staff recommends approval to apply.
Do I have a motion and a second?
We need to read the resolution, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Good.
I call for reading resolution 2165.
Resolution 2165, a resolution authorizing the submission of a Department of Health and Senior Services Office of Dental Health grant application.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for approval of resolution R 2165. Is there any council discussion? Haven't heard none. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next up, Public Work Operations Division is requesting authorization to apply for a West Central Missouri Solid Waste Management District Region F grant to support next phase of the city's glass recycling initiative. In 2025, the city successfully secured grant funding for the initial phase of the project, which included construction of concrete pad containment walls to support installation of commercial glass pulverizer. The current grant application represents the continuation of that effort and seeks funding to complete the electrical installation necessary to power and operate the equipment. The total estimated cost for this phase is $30,921, with anticipated grant funding of $26,282.85 and a required city match of $4,638.15. Approval of this item will allow staff to proceed with the grant application. Any future acceptance of funds or project implementation would be brought back to council as required. Staff recommends approval to apply.
I call for the reading of 2166.
Resolution 2166, a resolution authorizing the submission of a West Central Missouri Solid Waste Management District F grant application.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for approval of resolution 2166. Is there any council discussion? Haven't heard none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And the final thing this evening, the Public Works Department is requesting council approval to formally reject contract 2026-12 sidewalk replacement various location, which was previously awarded to S&A Equipment and Builders LLC on January 5th, 2026. Since the award of the contract, circumstances have arisen that prevent the project from proceeding as originally planned. The contractor is currently engaged in multiple active projects with the city, including 4 storm drain improvement projects and the North Central Neighborhood Sidewalk Initiative, which has impacted overall scheduling and capacity. In order to ensure the project is completed efficiently and to the city's expectations, staff recommends rejecting the current contract and will return at a later date with recommendations for a new contract. This approach allows the city to maintain project quality, proper scheduling, and competitive bidding conditions moving forward.
Public Safety Committee has no report. So next on the agenda is committee.
We need to read the bill number.
I get a reading of ordinance number 12392.
Bill number 2026-59, an ordinance repealing ordinance number 12392 relating to the sidewalk replacement various locations project.
Second reading on the ordinance.
I got a second and a motion. For resolution number 12392. Do I have any discussion from the council?
They're just basically pushing this off, like, till a later date. 'Cause there's-
I understand, but
Yeah.
do we have any discussion on any questions of this bill?
No, that's what he's.
Okay,
That's what I was saying.
all right. Public Safety Committee has no report. So next on the agenda is Community Development.
I'm sorry,
Committee.
Mayor, we need to finish reading and voting on the ordinance.
Okay.
Are we calling for final passage?
I haven't read, I need to do a second reading.
Thank you.
I'm calling for a second reading.
Bill number 2026-59, an ordinance repealing ordinance number 12392 relating to the sidewalk replacement various locations project.
Final passage.
Second.
Got a second and a motion? Do I have any objection from the council? Hearing none? All in favor?
We need a roll call, sir.
Oh, roll call. I'm sorry about that.
Cross,
Yes.
Redford,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Ames,
Yes.
Scribner,
Yes.
Bogus,
Yes.
Covington.
Yes.
All in favor?
All right. Roll call on standing committees. We're Chairman, we're on a public safety. So Public Safety Committee has no report. So next on the agenda is Community Development Committee, Chairman Ames, or Chairwoman Ames.
The Community Development Department is requesting authorization to destroy certain records that have been met established retention requirements in accordance with RSMO 109.230 and guidelines provided by the Missouri Secretary of State's office. The records identified include commercial plan sets and blueprints dated prior to 2016, residential plan sets dated prior to 2021, and miscellaneous plan review documents dated prior to 2024. These records have been reviewed and determined to be no longer necessary for current operations and do not possess sufficient administrative, legal, historical, or physical value to warrant continued storage. All records will be destroyed in a secure manner consistent with state guidelines. Staff recommends approval of the request.
Is there a motion to approve the record distract?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve record destruction request. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Under other business, we have a liquor license renewal. Clerk Myers.
We have one new license and two renewals tonight. We have a new special event license for Paige Scherer doing business as a local tap for Jaeger's Bike Night on May the 8th, 2026 from 6 to 10. And renewals for Jessica Deegan doing business as El Rodeo Mexican at 1400 South Limit, Suite 1 for liquor by the drink and Sunday sales. And Garrett Volker doing business as Volkers at 1021 South Limit for liquor by the drink and Sunday sales.
Motion to approve in block.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve and block the liquor license renewal. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Are there any miscellaneous items for the council and city administrators?
I did receive an update from the contractor today on the bridge. And if you guys remember in his request for change orders, he was going to start back on construction this week with parts coming in. So they are staying on that schedule with the sandblasting either starting late this week or the first of next week. We will see what that sandblasting reveals. If you guys remember, he was concerned about that in his presentation. So I just wanted to give you an update on that process.
Do we have a time frame?
He is still hoping to be done by the end of May, which is earlier than what he asked for in his extension. So let's hope for the best.
Yeah. Would MoDOT be signing off on this, like, as we discussed before, potentially?
So yes, MoDOT will, so our engineers will inspect it once it's ready for opening, and also MoDOT will. They've been, project manager has been coordinating with MoDOT for the inspection. So
Well,
as soon as we know for certain, I will let everyone know.
we also discussed earlier about the walkway.
Yes, the walkway is some of the structure underneath it is going to be inspected, and I do have concerns about that. We would still get the bridge open for traffic, but I want to have them check that out a little bit more in depth as we look at it, because we want to make sure it's safe. So, but that may be, we could split that off as a separate project if we need to get it open.
All right.
So
That's all I have. Next on the agenda, good and welfare portion of the meeting. We're going to have some restrictions on this as far as using employees' names and stuff like that. We will talk about agenda items as well, but this portion will only pertain to city matters, we hope. So with that being said, we'll leave the floor open.
Mr. Mayor, I do have two people that did sign up previously to speak.
Okay.
First one is Renee Vance. She wants to talk about the senior center.
All righty.
Renee Vance, P.O. Box 691. Tonight I'm announcing the activities for the Senior Center. There is a cake walk on Wednesday from 12:30 to 2. All proceeds will go to the center. Each round will only cost you $1. Our fried chicken is on the 21st. We also have tickets for the gala, which is June 16th. Individual tickets are $50 or a table for $400. They can be purchased at the center or to go online at goaging.com or goaging.org. At the gala, there will be a silent auction, punch wall, photo booth, and more. The theme is down on the farm, so no dress up required. Also, please join us to celebrate our honorees, Pat Franken, Mary Ann Thompson, and Doris Thurston. It has been my honor to address this council over the last 5 years with regard to the Senior Center and as the silver-haired representative for Pettis County. Advocacy for our senior population to the city, county, and state officials has been enormously educational and a rewarding experience. Attending council meetings have allowed my edification of city budgets and their many concerns and challenges. The economic shortfalls that are occurring for the individuals, nonprofits, cities, and at state levels are unfortunately here to stay for at least a while due to the uncertainty going on in our country. Funding for seniors are not the only citizens to experience underfunding, the downsizing, or the worst, elimination. I have announced my candidacy to represent Pettis County for House District 52. I believe I am the candidate who represents Sedalia because I do know your inner workings and the surrounding towns with trust and honesty that can be an exceedingly rare quality in these days. I promise to do the work of the interest of many instead of special interest of a few. I look forward to reaching out to all the citizens and earning their vote. Thank you.
And the only other one I had signed up was Gary Lowbaugh. And if I'm saying this right, you want to talk about this portion, right, Gary, the good and welfare portion on the agenda.
On South Arlington Avenue. I've been thinking about this good and welfare portion. Talking about what's on the agenda, stuff like that. In effect, us talking at the end nullifies our ability to make an objection to any of the ordinances that you're passing. We can't express our concerns about it before. We have to wait to the end. And by that time, you've already passed them. You're not hearing our objections, our concerns about what you're passing. I would suggest that you move the good and welfare portion ahead of your discussions of businesses. That way you can hear from concerned citizens about what you're going to pass. Right now, I'm here now after everything's over. And I could say, yeah, my agenda is this and that. But what good does it do? You've already passed the ordinances. Give the people the right to speak before you're gonna know whether they are with you on these ordinances. They're allowed to make complaints, which is democracy. That's my thoughts on it.
You must have a crystal ball because this has been discussed multiple times and it will be on the agenda. We will talk about this further with the council.
Thank you.
Mhm. Would anybody else like to speak about city-related business?
My name's Jeff Haynes. I'm owner operator of Hank's Septic Service, 409 East Second Street. I understand that the treatment plants are in disrepair and they need upgrading, but that's because of many, many years of, just not doing anything. And I think trying to jack up the prices on hauling liquid waste, which is a community service that it may not be mostly people in the city, but it is people in the community, in the county community. 12 cents a gallon may sound like not very much, but the average septic tank is 1,000 gallons. That's $120, but that's not enough. They've got to make it a minimum of 150. So if you have 1,000-gallon septic tank, it's costing you $150. That's just to dispose of it, not including for me to drive to your residence and pump it out. That, in the times that we're in, when one of the main discussions is affordability, that's pretty exorbitant. And especially when you have places that I might haul 10, 20,000 gallons a week from these locations. That adds up very, very quickly. Just for frame of reference, Coal Camp charges $5 per 1,000 gallons. Now, I understand they don't have the overhead that Sedalia does, but it just kind of puts it in perspective of how much it is. Not to mention on my part that all that's doing is I'm just going to pass it on to the customer. Okay. You're inviting outside companies to come in because customers are going to start calling out of town for better prices. I know a lot of communities that let their liquid haulers dump for free. Well, they can charge a lot less than I can now. So it's a problem statewide, probably nationwide, because not very many treatment plants are letting haulers dump anymore. People that are on septic have to get rid of it. It just doesn't disappear. Brittany did a great presentation, and she told you that Central Plant, 5 million gallons a day go through there. I'm dumping anywhere from 1,000 to maybe 7,000 or 8,000 gallons a day. That's a drop in the bucket. One of the sayings in wastewater is, you dilute. What is it, Brittany? Dilution is the solution. Yeah. So if you're putting, 6,000 gallons in some place that's getting 5 million gallons, it's not, there's not a lot of cost involved. I'll put it that way. And a lot of the things that I haul from like package plants that are wastewater treatment plants in and of themselves for subdivisions is actually good for the big treatment plants of the city. And I haul a lot of that stuff. So I just wanted to give a voice to the people of the county that don't have a voice here. And I hope you understand that, that it is a big deal. So
All right,
thank you for your time.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other members?
Heather Slagle, 2514 Highland Avenue. So the name that shall not be named, I guess we can't speak his name in here, so I could just refer to him as
Yeah.
Lord Voldemort, I guess. We're just not going to say names. Kelvin Shaw. I would like
Can
to.
we refrain from using names, please? We've already had this discussion, but let's,
Okay.
okay.
Go with that. I'd like to revisit package issue that's coming because it's never been resolved. And if we're going to move forward in accountability and transparency, we have to start somewhere. And that calls that person being held accountable for everything that he brought to Sedalia. If he was fired in Warrensburg, we wouldn't be dealing with him here, and we wouldn't have had to deal with everything that we're still dealing with on the hospital board, because we're all very aware of a timeline that he went to the hospital board in February. By the end of it, 3 weeks later, people are getting a mass layoff. Some people can't even get $1 raise, and we've all seen the CEO's salary. So, and I wonder what he's getting paid, as well as still getting legal services by Lauber Law Firm. That's in his retirement package, in case he incurs any legal fees still, which needs to be investigated, as well as his son still, who still holds a position that 4 of our firefighters lost without their retirement package and never got a ceremony. And their name should be named here, penned, because they earned it. They served our county, they put their lives on the line, and what did that guy do? Nothing but take from our city. So I'm going to keep talking about it until we have it resolved. And if there's any holdovers, please see yourselves out, because we're done dealing with all this nonsense. I'm done dealing with it. There are people that serve our city, and they deserve to have the same recognition that that family has received time and time and time again. So let's visit the hospital issue. Let's revisit the retirement package. Let's revisit the legal services that are covered. Let's revisit the son that's still employed by the city. And let's have an honest and fair investigation, and let's move forward with accountability. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak?
Debbie Covington, PO Box 965. So I just thought the meeting tonight was great. There was dialogue, there was conversation, the public was able to see you all speak. And, you know, see the different matters and questions you all raise on some of these bills and ordinances you're passing. At the last meeting, when the old administration was going out, you all, well, they voted on this trash ordinance. And unanimously, I believe, right? I think it was unanimous. But it takes a new administration to come in and actually have discussion so the public can see it, be a part of it. And I think that's a great thing. I think as the meetings go, things are going to get smoother. Everything's going to get figured out. I do agree. Like, I think we all have a crystal ball tonight, because I do think the good and welfare needs to be moved to the beginning of the meeting. And then you all can take the public's input in when you're voting on these bills. What else? The anti-free speech ordinance 12255. Many campaigned on this. I'm not going to let it go. I'm just wondering when you guys are going to visit this and have a conversation in front of the public about the anti-free speech ordinance. And also, was that trash ordinance vetoed? For somebody like me who doesn't have a lot of experience up here, I was a little confused. Was it vetoed or was it not vetoed?
It was vetoed.
Okay, good deal. And then I just asked for a motion And a motion for at the May 18th council meeting to repeal ordinance 12255, the anti-free speech ordinance. And just the example of tonight, the gentleman that wanted to talk about the waste, the dumping the waste and stuff, if you would have had that at the beginning of the meeting, it would have been something you could take in consideration when you're voting. So that and good job. Have a good night.
Barry Hoford, 1408 South Barrett. I called my councilman, Spencer Redford. I'll name drop him all day. He answered me back 3 calls. A neighbor to my house over on Barrett has had, and this, I think, you guys are on the public works, like the sewer and stuff. So, I mean, I've been around a long time doing maintenance on everything. She floods her basement when we have the 6 inches of rain. Nobody else on the street floods, but it ain't rain. It's sewer water. We get 3 inches of rain. Basement floods again. Sewer water. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but if we got rainwater running down the rain drains, how's it getting into the sewer to push it back? Sounds to me, after her guy came, checked it out, 2 plumbers, backflow is bad. She calls, the city's insurance says, it's not us, it's a natural cause. The city's backflow. Now, if the line has came loose from the backflow or the flapper valve is bad in the backflow, where's all the water that's pushing this little old lady by herself in her house to flood 6 inches of sewer water back in? Where's the sewer water coming from? It's not like clean water with a little bit of poop. It's, trust me, we were helping her clean it out. It was nasty. Her response, I'm going to call the city. It's not the only one that people have had problems with basements flooding due to drains coming in, people working on things. They get the same things, not our responsibility. If that backflow valve is bad and it's flooding her, that runs downhill. It's the brand new drains y'all put in behind Barrett are working great. That's going on down. If it's up the end of the street from 16th coming down, it's going right down. It's an easy fix to go look at, but for having people just to say, oh, it's your responsibility, to me is not what our public works is for. You all have the lien on the lot that's empty behind there where the easement's at. That is right behind, because the easement is not on her side of the property. It's on the house behind her where it was. The city owns that or has it under lien because there was a drug house, however y'all do that. It'd be really simple, I think, to go down and do some investigating on where the water pressure is coming from out of the storm drain to push sewer water through a bad backflow into this lady's house.
Text me the address.
It'd be 1410 South Barrett.
I'm gonna forget, so
Right
text me
beside
the
my
address.
Right beside my house.
Okay.
Her name is Janet Proctor.
Okay.
She's worked all over this city. Great lady. She's really getting upset. And I told her I would come tonight and speak my piece. And I do agree with the gentleman right here. I think it needs to be moved, our comments before, even though you don't want to vote, our comments a lot of times, maybe we could feel better on what we want to talk about through the agenda if we have the opportunity to speak our piece before the vote.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
I live on Third, 16 West. So on both sides of the street,
coming and going, you know. The house next door to me is a very busy house. There's lots and lots of cars that park there. If my trash can is too close to a car, either way, they don't pick up my trash. So I've been up here, I don't know how many times. It does me no good. Okay, so now they're putting in the walking track on Third Street. Everybody aware of that? It's gonna be a 10-foot walk, a bicycle or walking track. They're taking all the sidewalk out and everything. They've already started. The curb is gonna be gone. So I assume that there's gonna be no parking on that south side of Third. Am I right?
No, the parking remains. And also the curb also will be there. The curb and the sidewalk will be integrated.
Okay, and so they're still gonna, my concern is my trash. I thought if they couldn't park on their side, they parked on my side, it's gonna be harder to get the trash.
There's still parking there.
Brings me to I live at 816 West Third. I actually don't know the address. I have an alley. Right behind me is a city-owned property, and across the street is a city-owned property, and the grass is this tall this year, so far.
Ma'am, could I get your name for the record, please?
Oh, sure. I didn't tell you, did I?
I got your address.
Sandy Jeffers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak? Okay. That's all we have.
Motion to adjourn to closed session.
Second.
I'm sorry, if we could list the,
I didn't finish. Motion to adjourn for closed door session regarding legal advice, real estate personnel and contracts under RSMO 610-021, sections 1, 2, 3, and 12.
Now I'll second.
Yeah, and we need a roll call too, sir.
Can we get a roll call?
Robinson,
Yes.
Ames,
Yes.
Scribner,
Yes.
Bogus,
Yes.
Covington,
Yes.
Cross,
Yes.
Radford,
Yes.
Franklin.
Oh.
Ready to go? All right. Yeah. Closed door sessions for legal advice, real estate personnel and contact under RSMO 610-021, section 1, 2, 3, and 12.
Now you just need a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting.
Can I get a motion and second to?
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's go home.
it's been a while.
That was easy.